Yeah, great team, great environment, Houston. Electric players. Um, Really exciting environment to play in for the team. Just having an opportunity to gain that experience playing on the road and in a very hostile environment um, against incredibly challenging group, in particular on offense. Um, and it was like the tale of two cities. There's um, 35 minutes of really good football played and 25 minutes of really horrible football played. And it's in that sharp a contrast. So there's a lot of things to correct. Uh, we need greater execution on offense, um, and we need to relax a bit on defense. It's too anxious and too excitable. Um, That's causing some problems. Uh, and and I thought the kicking game, for the most part, played pretty well. Our specialists are doing a nice job, including our returner. Brian did a great job fielding all the punts he had an opportunity to field. So a lot of stuff to build on and also stuff to correct as we get ready for Cincinnati. Great team, uh, powerhouse, and an exciting matchup at home. So looking forward to it.
We'll take questions for Coach Bob Diaco. Please star one on your telephone keypad to join the queue. The operator will introduce you.
We'll first hear from John Altavilla with the Hartford Courant.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Bob, what was your biggest takeaway from that Houston game when you had time to sit down and absorb what went on? What did it leave you with?
There's that moment in the second quarter where the second quarter became a disaster quarter for us, which is very uncharacteristic. And I think a big part of it is the defensive players in particular, just having so much pressure on them. It really manifested itself in that game, and I felt like we, as a group, kind of cracked there for a moment, based on a couple of plays that happened, and that just shouldn't happen. You can't have that happen. You can't let one bad play spill into the next 15 minutes of play, or 20 minutes of play. As a defender, you got to understand there's going to be a play that somebody catches on you, or a run that somebody runs on you, or a tackle that you miss here and there. We can't create an environment where you feel like, oh my gosh, they just cost us the game, because they do have a massive amount of pressure on them right now, because of the lack of offensive production. And unfortunately, the guys feel like if they give up a play, they're going to lose, or they might have that mentality creep in for just a second to say, oh my gosh, we just gave up 7 points. How are we going to get those points back? So that's a toxic kind of mentality, and it's well intended. It's guys that care a great deal. It's really born out of that. It's born out of caring so deeply, but it's not useful for defending. So that's one area, just to mentally understand and prepare to play each play individually, fundamentally sound the best that you can. That's what we do. We don't look at the scoreboard. You shouldn't think about and hover at a helicopter level. You got to be on the ground and engaged in each moment on defense. And then offensively, just showing opportunities where we left some real points on the board. So you get down 7-0, and we have a chance to respond and score, and the execution is slightly off, to make it 7-7, or at 14-0. With about 4 minutes to play, or whatever it was there in the half, or 5 minutes in, we got a chance to score again to make it 14-7, and the ball game's different at that point. So there were some moments like that we had a chance to look at during that stretch there, and in particular in the second quarter. So I'd say those are a couple of the bigger takeaways.
Bob, do you think all defeats leave the same fingerprint and print on a team, or do they tend to be different?
Oh, that's a good question. I would think that you have different lessons to learn from each particular loss or victory. That they all wouldn't be the same conversation for the people in the organization after. I think the conversations are different. At least in our experience, that's what we've experienced. That when we've lost or when we've won, we come back into the room the next day because we're a process group. So when we come back into the room the next day, we typically have different things to talk about. So I'd say that they're different, answering it and thinking about it that way.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thank you.
And next we'll hear from Dan Totoro with WakeUpCallDT.com.
Hey, Coach, how are you this morning?
Okay, good.
To take a look at your team through these first few weeks, I know you were just talking about how you can learn something different from every loss, but to look at this team in comparison to the other teams that you've had at UConn and some of these guys that have come through the last few years, just what you can see from the growth from some of the leaders that maybe came in a certain way and are at a different place now. I know you always talk about the positive side and the upswing. So what have you seen from some of the guys that have been through the adversity?
Oh, I mean, there's so many examples of improvement. It's pretty incredible. In the program, unfortunately, you need to see wins and victories to see it. And then at the beginning here of year 3, as we get started, to be faced with the task of, right here in a row, Navy, Virginia, Syracuse, Houston as the number 6 team in the country. And 2 of the games, Syracuse and Houston, within 6 days, is a pretty significant plate of food to eat. So I feel like the guys have responded well to it. They fought hard all the time. That piece is very healthy, and Michael Myers is a defensive leader that's very positive on game day and very helpful to the guys, and also tough and backs it up with tough play. Cole Ormsby, who's always been a rugged, tough guy who tries hard, has really cleaned the fundamentals and details and discipline of his game up. Been very impressed with him. Matt Walsh has done a 180-degree turn from when we first met in terms of the man that he is now. Just absolutely the epitome of teammate and tough guy and smart guy and leader. Just fantastic work he's done. So we're getting that kind of push, and just to name a few guys. And then on offense, Bryant continues to try to assert himself as a leader on the sideline and be very encouraging. Andreas, another captain, has just done a good job of keeping everybody level-headed and locked into the task. And then the biggest change has come from Noel Thomas, who not only is playing like in a possessed kind of energy, but he's also asserting himself as a leader on the sideline and in the locker room in a very positive way, in a very appropriate way. So been very pleased with those guys in particular.
And then to look at the upcoming matchup you have with Cincinnati, just what you can say about Tommy Tuberville and what he's done with that team. Yeah,
a great coach, and been doing it a long time. I don't have in front of me or memorized how many years he's been a head coach, but it's been a long time at Auburn and Texas Tech and Cincinnati, and I'm not even sure where else, but a bunch of places there. And they've got your typical Cincinnati team with explosive players and on offense and defense and special teams. Great great play they're getting from their running backs. A couple of wideouts that can really, go up and get it and change the game. Very aggressive to the football guys. A big physical offensive line. I'd say, probably the best offensive line that we've seen to this point, in terms of just 5 guys and those players. And then the defense is your standard aggressive, hard front, hard to block, a lot of push, a lot of energy upfield with their defensive line and linebackers, an aggressive downhill pads first group that plays hard. So I'd say they very similar to the teams they've had in the past.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we have time for one more for Coach Diaco, please.
And our next question comes from Ronnie Woodward with Greenville Daily Reflector.
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
Good, and you?
Good. Houston faces Navy this week, and Navy's coach said a little bit ago that they might try to petition using 15 players on defense and got some laughs. But having just faced Greg Ward, what advice would you have for other teams that try to stop him? And, I mean, they're kind of taking the league by storm, it seems, at this point.
Yeah, you know what? He's a great player, and you're not going to stop him. That's not going to happen. So make sure your players don't get frustrated when they don't. He's going to have a few plays, and make sure they're plays that he has with his legs. Stay in coverage. Stay on body. Don't pull yourself out of coverage if you're on body to go stop him. And then as he moves in the pocket, you have to maintain your rush lane. The guys want to get into pursuit angles and retrace back downfield because they think he's attacking and getting ready to cross the line of scrimmage. But he doesn't. You really need to stay on that upfield shoulder, and in the event that he comes back to you, you're prepared. And in the event that he doesn't, then you got a plus on the play. So maintain your rush lane no matter what it ends up looking like. You're not going to catch him anyway if you try to retrace and get back downfield. Prepare for him to reverse field, stay in your lane. If he is on the move, rally and work to get him tackled, but do not come out of coverage when you're on body to do it, because those are the game-changing plays.